There's nothing wrong with speaking your mind as a man, you know. Uh, the moment that we speak our mind as a man, it's perceived as toxic or offensive or rude or disrespectful, or we're getting defensive, or we must have been hurt by something or someone that, you know, we must be this, we must be that. You know, people just for some reason cannot seem to refrain from judgment whenever men speak their mind, you know? And then if we were to utilize silence, they say that we need to talk more, we need to open up more. You know, that type of stuff I don't like. Those are mind games. You know, you either like when we speak our mind or you don't. Imagine if we place conditions on a woman when it comes to speaking their mind. We wouldn't hear the end of it. But for some reason, they feel like they can control the way that we speak, how we do, you know? So as men, it's up to us to take charge. How can we get respect as leaders if we don't carry ourselves with respect enough to stand on what we believe, stand on what we know to be correct, stand on our feelings, our thoughts, you know? Stand on our logics. Like, if we don't stand on business, you know what I'm saying, we can't demand respect from other people because we don't respect ourselves enough to hold true to our standards and our boundaries. We can't let a woman tell us what to do in terms of how to be a man, because a woman is not God. A woman is not the Most High. The one that you should look up to as a man to teach you how to really be the man you're supposed to be is the Most High, because He made us. So when someone makes you, they know everything about what it takes to be a man. You know, they made you into the man that you are. So a woman's only going to tell you what you should be like so that she benefits more. And then once she benefits more, she'll switch on you. And now the stuff that used to be okay is not okay anymore. I want you to open up to me. Open up to her as long as it benefits her. But the moment you open up in a masculine way, and you're not being disrespectful, you're just being a man, you're being bold, you're to the point, you're logical the way that you're supposed to be, then all of a sudden it's not okay. It's too much for her. It's making her anxious, and you need to stop. But when a woman wants to open up without judgment and in an emotional way, because she's emotional by nature, us men, we sit there quiet, we listen as long as she needs. No judgment. We comfort her, we're there for her. It's not too much for us, we don't complain. You know? But the moment we just want to be heard once, after taking the trials of the world by storm in silence for so long, we want to just come to the woman once, tell her how we feel, what we think about things. It's too much for her, right? And so within placing those conditions, the best thing you can do is open up to God. If you open up to a woman, you're destined for disappointment, because there's always going to be some sort of backlash, you know? If women learn how to respect the way that men, you know, express themselves, they learn how to understand men more. If they learn how to actually care, you know, then there wouldn't be no problem. But they don't want to put that effort in. They only care about themselves, you know? As long as things benefit them, that's all that matters. That's the difference. You know, a woman wants to become more and more successful and this and that with a third so that she can become more independent. Men want to become successful so that they can help the ones that are there for them, that are in their circle. So there's a selfishness and a selflessness. You know, which one are you? Anyway, There's nothing wrong with a man speaking his mind. The Most High gave us a mind. He wants us to utilize it to our full potential, not waste it. The mind that we have is a blessing, and we should never throw a blessing away. We should never throw a blessing back in God's face, because 9 times out of 10 we don't even deserve that blessing. I mean, look at how the world's going right now, and the fact that he still blesses us throughout all this stuff, that's a blessing in itself. You know what I'm saying? It's a miracle that we're able to still receive blessings from him and gifts from him, despite how we are on a daily basis as human beings. You know, we blaspheme him, we turn our backs on him, we have faith one moment, then we don't have faith the next. We go to him only when things are bad, but when things are good, we forget all about him. You know, we take all the credit instead of giving him the credit, because if it weren't for him, we wouldn't have the strength to get through everything that we get through. And it's like, man, you know, it's a blessing to have the mind that we have. So as a man, we should never let anybody else, not even just women, we shouldn't let nobody else out here tell us that, like, basically, if we're conducting ourselves in a logical, wise, respectful way, and we are expressing how we feel without putting anybody else down, but just speaking our mind, backing it up with facts, there's nothing wrong with that. And I encourage men to keep doing that. We don't get uplifted in that way. We get put down so much. Men aren't this, they ain't that. When are people gonna start saying something good about men? Because there are a lot of good things, you know. There are a lot of good things about women too, you know what I'm saying? But people just focus so much on the negative. It's one thing to hold somebody accountable or to point them in a direction of accountability if they're having trouble, but to put someone down and belittle somebody and call somebody names and, you know, demonize things that aren't bad, you know, placing connotations that shouldn't be placed, right? Like, that's a different story, man. Relax. You know, the whole purpose of accountability is so that we self-improve, because self-improvement is connected to what the scripture says, reproof and correction. And the Most High says that if you reject those things, if you reject correction and reproof, then you're a fool. So being accountable is a great thing. It's just that people don't want to get out of their comfort zone. The moment that they feel uncomfortable, they want to point fingers at you and say you're being offensive, you're being rude, you're being disrespectful. You can say it in the most calm tone possible, exactly how I'm speaking to you guys right now, and they'll still say that. They'll say the same thing. You know, it's not really about how you deliver it. It's just that people have different spirits on them in the world. And when you deliver the truth, not my truth, I'm talking about the one and only truth, the good news gospel that the Most High said in this world to be spread, right? When you deliver the truth, it eats at people, but it depends on what spirit they got. You know, if they got a similar spirit on them, they'll be receptive to it, you know? It'll help them. It'll be an eye-opener for them. Like, it'll wake them up to the point where it's like, oh, wow, okay, it'll inspire them, motivate them to become disciplined, you know what I'm saying? Find a direction. It'll bring them to the Most High, closer to the Most High, you know? But someone with an opposite spirit on them, they'll be repelled by the truth. They'll call you names. They'll insult you. They'll find something personal to attack you with instead of focusing on the point, so that you feel bad enough and belittled enough to where you close your mouth and you're silent. Not because you're using silence as power, not because you're using silence to listen or to observe so that you become more wise, but you use silence out of fear. They want you to be fearful. The only one that you should fear is the Most High, because he's all powerful, you know? So if you ever utilize silence, utilize it in a strategic way, not out of fear, but out of confidence. Never let nobody shut you up out of fear. You know, if you want to speak your mind and you know you're saying the right things and going about it the right way and doing the right thing, you're delivering it fine, your approach is fine, you're respectful, do it. Don't let nobody stop you. Because all it is just a scare tactic to get you out of the way so that evil can continue in the rest of the world. And the reason why I pinpoint women is not because I'm picking on them. It's because ever since the beginning of time, women have been used to put men down, because that's Satan's way of destroying man, beginning with the mind, and then all else falls into place. Because men who carry themselves like the men they were made to be, they're masculine. It's a great thing. We're supposed to be. According to the Most High. And so when you're that way, when you're logical the way that you were made, what do logical people do? They want to figure things out. They ask questions. When someone's trying to deceive you, they don't want you asking all these questions. They just want you to fall in place, fall for the bait, get tricked, so that they have the upper hand. Whereas if you ask all these questions, it's like, man, it slows down their progress with deceiving you. So it's like they got to find someone who's a gullible, naive target that's close to you so that they can get to you that way. So they can't get to you directly as a man because you're strong in the mind. You're too inquisitive. So they use the weaker vessel in terms of the more emotional vessel, right? They go to the woman, play with her feelings, get her emotions in a certain zone, and then they use her to get to you as a man, to bring you down, right? As a man, you're saying the right things, you're holding people accountable, you know what you're talking about, but evil forces talking that woman's ear. Oh, he's trying to hurt you. He's trying to offend you. Look at him. He's a jerk. He's being disrespectful. How do you feel about that? Just the biggest form of instigating, right? And women fall for it all the time because they're emotional. Wear their emotions on their sleeve, put their emotions in the forefront, when really you should have control over your emotions. Especially if women claim to be more emotionally sound, more emotionally mature than men. You would have more control. That's where maturity comes, is the control aspect of it. Having control over your emotions, being steadfast in them, is what makes you emotionally mature. Not all this other stuff people be saying. So, once women get in that zone, they're able to go to the man and say all these things to push his buttons and stuff, and then inherently, if you are not aware that this is happening, then you fall for it, you feel bad, you feel like you gotta apologize for something you don't need to apologize for, you know, you don't want to speak on things no more, you know, you become weaker and weaker and weaker, you don't speak up, you lose your backbone, and then inherently that woman or those women, they lose respect for you as a man because they're not aware that what they think that they want in that moment is not what they really want. Because in the long term, it's like, man, I really don't want that. But it's like their emotions are being triggered in the moment, so they think they want a certain thing, and when you give it to them, instead of giving them what you know that they need, then it's going to backfire on you. You know what I'm saying? Us as leaders, as men, we got to know what women want already. We got to understand that we can't go off of the short-term emotional things. We got to go off the long-term logical things. You know what I'm saying? The things that will benefit all of us in the end, right? Benefit men, benefit women, benefit the Most High. You know what I'm saying? We always got to give him credit first. So keep speaking your mind, man. We're at a time where men are becoming feminized. We're at a time where a lot of things that revolve around the truth in the world become censored. You know, people become labeled as conspiracy theorists. They become labeled as misogynists. They become labeled as haters, as anti-Semitic people, you know what I'm saying? Like, all these names to discourage us from speaking the truth. Because the truth sets us free, not because of happiness. I mean, happiness is a byproduct of being awakened to the actual truth. I'm not talking about being woke. I'm talking about like the actual truth. You know what I'm saying? Happiness is a byproduct of that, but it's not the goal. The goal is so that we can move through life better, so that we are more prepared for what's to come. We're able to overcome situations. We become closer to the Most High. We're able to help other people once we overcome these things. Like, that's the goal, is to spread his message of the good news. But how can we spread it if we don't know the truth? That's the goal. And once we achieve that goal, happiness comes with that. But the goal solely isn't to make us happy. It's not about to trigger emotions. It's so that we become stronger in our mind. You know what I'm saying? In our spirit. Because there's evil forces out here trying to keep us docile. And we can't be weak. We can't be weak in a world like this, in a time like this. I mean, the birth pains are growing. You know what I'm saying? And now's the time to speak our minds, especially as a man. There's an attack on men right now, and women are being used to attack us, man. A lot of times these women don't even realize it because they get so in their emotions. If they were to take a deep breath and step back, to be like, wait, what am I doing? But some of these women know what they're doing. They don't care, because women can have evil spirits on them too, just like men. You never know what kind of spirit you in front of, or that's around you, or that you're entertaining, or that is trying to entertain you. So always be careful, be on your toes, be self-aware, observe, never slack off, because that's when you're gonna get got. Always, protect your mind, your spirit, your heart. Pray at all times. Have faith and believe at all times in the Most High. He'll guide you. Wear his armor and he'll protect you. Okay?